Executive Vice President and Business Head, Godrej Aerospace. Mr. Vaidya?
Yeah, good morning to all of you. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, Swapnil. Thank you, Commodore Bhargava. And will you please allow me to share? I'm currently having a disablement. I'm not able to share my presentation. Yes, thank you.
Sure, sir. Yeah.
It has been enabled, sir.
Yes. So I'm uploading it. Just hold on. Yes, are you able to see it now? Has it come on the screen?
Yes, sir, it is visible. You can go to
It is visible, sir.
Okay, so I think the topic what you have selected is really a fantastic one, and the banning of import of 101 items. But what I would like to really do is that instead of seeing this in isolation of only of 101 items, I think there are few major other announcements also by Government of India, which are listed down here. Which, if we see it in conjunction, then I think we will be able to do much more sense to the today's discussion what we are going to have. I think along with the MOD, it is the space sector. The DOS, Department of Space, also has made a very good announcement of opening up of space sector for the private industries. We all know that the geopolitical scenario which has emerged out after the pandemic, especially the China exit policy and the Indo-US, Indo-Russian relationship, how it is taking turn in a different way. And in addition to this, I think within India itself, we see that there is a lot of competition which is taking place between different states, so that everyone wants to attract the business, everyone wants to give some kind of enhancement or encouragement to the private industry. So collectively, if we see this a larger package, I think it will make more sense. So before going into the details, let me quickly take through few slides on Godrej, because you know that Godrej has been into the more of civilian products, more of the consumer products. But it is the last 20-30 years of our dedicated efforts, we have moved successfully from the traditional consumer product to high technology aerospace and defense products. And thanks, of course, to ISRO DRDO, who has taken a major share in training and updating us to the required technologies. And today we are also in good export opportunities. So this is what we do. I mean, we have different sections on the currently DRDO developed missiles, as well as onto various fighter jets and helicopters. And we are onto all the liquid platforms for the Indian space program. And we also do a full motion remote sensing antenna for them. For the aircraft, we are mainly into the aircraft propulsion systems. We also do quite a lot of line replaceable units, and of course the structures and tanks, as you see it in this next slides. Whether it is PSLV, GSLV, or whether it is a fighter jet like a Tejas, all the primary actuators on this Tejas are currently being developed by us along with ADA. Some of these actuators are already qualified and started flying. Some actuators are in the final stages, and we hope that in next 2 to 3 months before the HAL starts manufacturing those 85 odd aircrafts, it will be done. Similarly, we have participation into the power takeoff units and other items which are going to fly, or they already started flying in the LCA, and ALH, the other helicopters what we make. These are some more details of what exactly we do. As you see, there are a lot of critical sections which we build, complex assemblies, and it's a combination of sheet metal work, precision machining, precision surface treatments, heat treatments, NDT, and finally the test. So we have all kinds of qualification test facilities within us. Our facilities are AS91 approved, all the NADCAP certifications and the customer certifications, both from domestic as well as for the export business. These are the critical actuators what I was talking about, and the pumps and valves and filters which we make for various platforms on the Indian systems today, whether it is, as I said, for aircraft or helicopter or for the missile segments. Now, taking this forward, I think government has done whatever we wanted it. Why we wanted it? Because all these days we were not sure if I invest into R&D or if I train and qualify and create all those dedicated infrastructure and the test facilities, will my this investment be supported for the volumes? Will it have the financial viability? And can it be a sustainable business? So, to be very frank, I mean, first 20 years for us, when we had a transition from the civilian or the consumer products to these high technology products, we were not making money. But as soon as we started seeing volumes which are coming up from MOD as well as from the Indian Space Program, and that too also in a limited way, we started saying that yes, this business can have its own sustainability. And now, of course, with all these various initiatives of really banning 101 items, DRDO offering 108 technologies, privatization
It's 11:30.
of ordnance factory, and I think a good amount of technology development funds. And I'm very happy to inform you here that of these 101 items, we find Godrej can be at least 15 to 20 items can be easily been manufactured or can be taken up by our own team, and we are started working towards it. We have identified quite large number of technologies what DRDO is offering and started discussing. Few of them we already secured, and we are in process of obtaining the balance of the technologies. We have started participating, and some contracts, because of the secrecy, I cannot give you all those numbers and the type of contracts for the TDF, the Technology Development Fund. And I think this drive of import substitution, by sharing a large list by MOD, by Defense Minister himself, from the various PSUs and ordnance factories what they are importing. I think from there also we have taken out a good amount of list of these items which are being imported today, where we feel that in next 12 to 18 months we'll be able to start manufacturing and qualify them. And there are few where we will require some technology partnership, technology understanding, and accordingly we have started discussing with academia and other foreign collaborators who are interested in coming to India and talking about it. So the best thing is that I think whatever government has to do, they have already done it. बहुत कुछ हमें इसके अंदर से मिल गया है, and now it is our turn. But before I go to what, I think I have say our dil is never going to be fulfilled. Dil mange more. So I think along with MOD, if the other departments of Government of India also can work and they also spell out similar requirements, then I think it will be very easy for us to get a concise picture, like DOS has already announced it at this time itself, and the various reforms which are being planned. Some of them are already being discussed in our parliament, some of them are yet to come. But I think getting it together is going to help us into a great opportunity. Little more from MOD. I think the DGAQA, if we can bring in a little professionalism in that, and try to avoid the personal specific interpretations and make it more like a operating procedure, legal framework for the various insurances and the legal norms or the legal agreements what we are talking and signing it off, not only within India but also abroad. And my suggestion to them is that instead of restricting FDI of 74%, let it be 100%. But there we can say that such FDIs who are going to set up manufacturing here can have 50 or 74% Indian content in every item what they will do it. So finally our aim is to really promote Indian industries which has been having a huge capabilities. Not only the large houses, but I think the MSMEs also have huge capabilities. And we see that when we see really the list of offset partnership. I was amazed to see the list of IAI offset partnership in India. They have gone and really scanned our market so well that probably our own system of developing our own the supply chain has been missed out by us. I mean, we have a huge capability in MSME, and that was ignored all these days. But because of these offsets, it has been seen that offset can really make it these large industries to spend time and money and to see that the MSMEs, because they are having that 1.5 multiplier, so it's an incentive which is being given to them that promotes them to go into MSME and really see into it. So before going, I think there is something we have our own uh, requirement to be done. Government has done whatever bit they wanted to do it. So I think I will give focus on to what I just started in the last slide, that let us have a proper tier based approach. I think everybody is trying to do everything. Let's not really do it. Even though the volumes are increasing, it is not going to be sufficient for every one of us to really grow. So let us grow it in a very professional manner, in an identified, calibrated manner. So that will require formation of clusters, industry-wise all over world. In my next slide, I will show you the number of clusters which are operating in aerospace and defense. I think we need to have a good integration between design, development, and systems. DRDO has been doing the design and development, but system integration, probably they were not really having that kind of a focus, so they were lagging. But as soon as the private partnership started coming in, PPP model, I think they will start getting a lot of benefit out of it, and that is what the industry bodies like CII should really take it and promote it. I think the last thing which I will suggest for industry bodies is to really look for a lot of efforts in automation, digitization, and IoT. Like you will all agree that most of our manufacturing infrastructure, what we have, whether it is machining centers, whether it is forming centers, whether it is welding machines, whether it is testing machines, putting sensors, everything is imported today, and there are no Indian manufacturers. So as we are trying to increase Indian content into the defense systems, I think we should also look for having our own machinery. The capital expenditure what we spend, which is a huge for aerospace and defense, I think that has to be really looked into, and we should not only promote the defense sector, but we should also promote the supporting infrastructure. If also that can be developed, I think our cost and the competitiveness can increase rapidly. Next, I think as an industry, we should try to cut down our time from mine to market. That is the responsibility which we have taken. And just to give an example, when the first cryogenic engine with the Russian aid we were trying to develop it, it took more than 12 years for us. But when the next indigenous cryogenic engine started getting developed, we were able to do it in just 4 years. And now the semi-cryo version which we are trying to do it, we have taken a very aggressive task of doing it in 18 months. So I think we should really put such kind of a very stringent timelines for our own, so that we'll be able to really move much faster. Next is, I think, the manufacturing excellence. Even though we have a cost arbitrage, but I think our productivity is really a little concern, and that is because we are missing the culture. I think this productivity culture is something which we need to really look into our own Indian culture. What we had, I mean, we had Vishwakarmas and others who have really given us a lot of inputs on how to really develop our own Indian culture. Instead of just trying and copying the culture from Japan or from the other countries and using their jargon words like Kaizen and Lean and Six Sigma and others, I think we should have our own terminology which will appeal to all of us which are into the manufacturing. And lastly, I will focus on to the spin-off. All these good technologies what we are going to develop for aerospace and defense has a huge spin-off, and unless we evaluate and unless industry starts finding out more and more spin-offs, these technologies will remain only for aerospace and defense, which actually has a huge potential to be brought in into our day-to-day usage and in the civilian market also. So I think I will give a stress onto this. We have lots of examples. Looking at the time constraint, I will not go into this spin-off list, but it is something which is of very interest. Let's go into and let us put two more slides onto little more emphasis onto the cluster. As you see here, every developed country in aerospace and defense is able to survive because of the large number of clusters which are working, and they are working into various subsystems. Of course, there are OEMs like Airbus and Boeing and all other Lockheed Martin, General Dynamics, who will be taking the leadership. and but the clusters can really have a good amount of sharing practices, which are listed down into the next slide. And this is what we already have practiced it. Godrej Aerospace has its own cluster, more than 25 our cluster partners. We meet on monthly basis. Yearly we have a big event, and we have developed many technologies together, many assemblies we have developed together. And whatever contribution in the first few slides you saw it, that was coming from this cluster what we developed it. And I will strongly recommend that we quickly go into this. Information is available on our website, and this has benefited not only us but our ultimate customers, not only in domestic defense, domestic space, but also in the export business. And I am sure that this large opportunity which is coming up can be very effectively utilized by all of us if we form into different clusters. So with this, I just finish my presentation. Thank you very much once again, and I will be open for any question answers. Thank you. Over to you, Swapnil.
Thank you very much, sir, for